Okay. Hi, everybody. How are you? As Anne said, my name is Pam Durkin, and I've been volunteering for Canine Companions for 11 years now. I worked as an executive at ADP. Yes.
A hybrid meeting via Zoom.
Oh,
So you have to stand in front.
okay.
Here.
Okay.
So that they can see.
Okay. I just trying to get them to see me. Okay. And I started volunteering, like I said, about 11 years ago. I am the volunteer lead for the East Bay chapter of Canine Companions. Can everybody hear okay and see okay and all of that? Okay. And Canine Companions relies heavily on volunteers, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I know some people on the video probably can't see that I have Bonita with me today. Bonita, sit. Hey, can you sit? Down. Thank you. Bonita was born in my house. I have her mother. So I was a volunteer breeder caretaker for Canine Companions. And then I puppy raised Bonita in hopes that or a service dog for Canine Companions. And it turned out she decided she wanted to be a breeder. So she lives with me now, and she will have puppies at my house, and she will have up to 4 litters. She is 2 years old, and she's a great dog. Am I? Okay, and who's going to move the screens? Because unless I have something. Yeah, I don't know how to move the screens. So if I walk around, I won't be able to do that.
I have a pointer.
A pointer or a clicker? Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So now maybe you can see my beautiful girl, Bonita. Bo, can you sit? Down. Okay, you can stay there. Thank you. She's a very good girl. Canine Companions started in 1975 in Santa Rosa, California. And as Anne said, last year we were super excited. It was our 50th year. And Canine Companions is a nationwide organization. So we're not just California based. We have 6 campuses across the United States. Maybe you could move the slide one for me. Okay. So we have 6 campuses, as you can see, across the United States. And then we have a satellite office also in Seattle. And so the way that it works is the puppies are all born within driving distance of Santa Rosa, because the veterinary support for breeders is here in Santa Rosa. And we do breed our own dogs. And certainly some people have asked me in the past why we couldn't use rescues and help get them situated and so forth. And the real reason is there's 2 reasons. One is we absolutely breed for temperament. All those super smart veterinarians that know how to do this, we are breeding for a calmer dog. We do use only Goldens and Labs and mixes of the 2, and we've been doing that for many years. So we have a long history of that. The other reason that we don't, in addition to not, if you use a rescue dog, it takes a while to get to know. She's so stressed out to get to know their temperaments. But so in these cases, we're ahead of the game. The other thing is it's not as predictable, right? We have a long waiting list of people waiting for the dogs. They could wait 2 to 3 years. And we certainly are trying to solve that, but it just means more money, more donations, more volunteers, more breeders. It just means more and more, like any other business, right? It's a business. So in order for us to try to understand what our volumes will be each year, we do breed our own. And we are looking for breeder caretakers because we're trying to get more dogs out there, more puppies that then will be raised to hopefully be future service dogs. And I wanted to point out something else. As you can see up here, that Canine Companions, even though we're nationwide in all those places, only has 320 employees, but they have over 6,000 volunteers like me. So needless to say, Canine Companions would not be in business and we would not be able to provide service dogs if we did not have volunteers doing all these things. Okay. So what we do, go ahead, please. All right. Some of you may be aware of some of these statistics, but I always find them interesting to bring up because certainly some of the population does not get it, right? That there are how many people out there are potential clients for someone like Canine Companions, right? You can see the numbers up there for the number of people that have disabilities that we are hoping to serve. Our dream goal would be to provide service dogs for anyone with any of those disabilities that wanted one. If you could go to the next slide. Okay. So the types of service dogs that we provide are service dogs for children or adults with physical disabilities. So that population could be someone that is a wheelchair user. They could be someone that has MS. Many, they could have a loss of a limb. So all, it's a big category, and those dogs do things like pick up items. So if they drop their keys or drop anything, right? If you're a wheelchair user, for example, if you drop your keys, can you pick them up? Not without falling out, right? So they really help them a lot. We also provide dogs to children and or adults that have things like autism, and that includes a variety of different things as well. And certainly the stories I've heard of how those dogs help those children is amazing. For example, oftentimes if a child has something like autism, they don't sleep through the night. And if you have one of our dogs that can lay across you and provide pressure during the night, the parents get to sleep again. And the stories is why I do this. And then veterans that have PTSD, we provide dogs for them. And I've recently went to a graduation where a veteran, when he went to campus to get his dog, he sat in the back of the room and he was really nervous about being someplace that he wasn't comfortable. And by the end, he did brave up and give a little speech about how the dog changed him already and how he's looking forward to that. Those dogs can do things like nightmare interruption. So they can pull the blankets off you gently and wake you up if you're having a nightmare, which often happens with PTSD. And of course, our hearing dogs, which are for people that are deaf or hard of hearing. And Dawn, who's in that situation, will come up and tell you about her experience and more about what those dogs do. So I won't go into that right at the moment. And then the other kind of dog that we have that's a little different, that isn't a service dog at the end, is called a facility dog. And those dogs help a lot of people. The places they work are like educational, judicial, and healthcare, for example. They may go to school with a teacher. We have a dog in the Contra Costa DA's office that helps when children or women or anyone needs some comfort in order to tell their story when they're brought in. And we have lots of dogs that work at UCSF, John Muir. John Muir is up to 4 or 5. I don't know. UCSF has 8. And those dogs go to work every day, just like their people. And they will do things like occupational therapy, physical therapy. They may visit ICU. They do amazing things. Hey, did I tell you to get up? Can you down? Thank you. Those dogs do amazing things. People may not want to get up for their physical therapy, and then you bring Fluffy in, right? And you're like, how about now? So we've had really great success in many places with those dogs. Next slide. So how do we do this, right? So with all the volunteers. So like I said, I'm a breeder caretaker, so it starts with us where we have the puppies in our homes, and once she decides it's time, once she goes into heat, she will go to Santa Rosa and have a date. And then they are pregnant for, anybody know? 63 days. I'll hear women say, whoa, that's so short. How about we could be like that? I go, yeah, but did you have 8 puppies? And then they have the puppies and they will be at my house for 2 months. And for the first three weeks or so, it's all about her. And then for the last 3 weeks or so, it's all about me. It's very busy. And then we start to train them then. We start playing sounds in the background. We start having them walk on different surfaces we put out there. We start potty training them, crate training them. We start then. And then they go out to volunteer puppy raisers all across the country. So they're all born, like I said, within driving distance of here, but they get flown out to puppy raisers all over the country, including Alaska and Hawaii. And those since COVID, lots of things happened that weren't great. One thing that was great for us was because we couldn't fly the puppies on commercial airlines then, we started relationships with private pilots that do it for us all the time now. And as per the aviation laws that I don't know a lot about, if they're doing volunteer work, they don't charge us. So they fly the puppies. It's a win-win. They bring their kid, they hold the puppy, they get there, everybody's happy. So that's been really great. And then the puppy raisers have the puppies from 2 months old until they're about 16, 17 months old. And we have all kinds of resources from Canine Companions and puppy classes to help us, and we help each other. And then at the end of that, then the puppies go into professional training. On one of those campuses across the country, they all have professional training. And then in professional training, after the first couple months, they decide, is this a good hearing dog? Is this a dog that might be good for mobility? I do not know how they figure that out, but they do. I will tell you that in my opinion, that hearing dogs are a little spicier. When I sometimes see a puppy raiser and their dog's a little spicier, I'm like, oh, that's a future hearing dog. And my unscientific opinion on that is that some of the dogs, you are commanding them, right? You are telling them, turn on the light, do this, do that. Hearing dogs are telling you what to do. So they can't be like sleepy, right? So they have to be like on it because they're going to say, hey, this happened, and get you going, that Dawn's going to talk about. And then when you are on our waiting list, you are going through phone interviews, home visits, a lot of stuff. And then you get a phone call and they say, come on up. And you go to one of the campuses that has hearing dogs, and you're on campus. There's a dorm there, and it's fully accessible. It's really, Dawn can tell you a little bit about it, and you're there for 2 weeks and it's intense, and I'll let her talk about it. Okay. Yep, keep going. Thanks. So these are just some statistics that we're certainly proud of that you can read for yourself about the number of people that we've reached. We have, where are you going, girly girl? Can you sit? Sit. Can you shake? Thank you. Can you touch? Can you kiss me? Thank you. So you can read some of those statistics. Oh, and the other one I forgot real quick is therapy dogs. About 50% of the dogs make it, which means 50% don't. And those dogs generally are eligible to be therapy dogs, and we certify them now. So I have one that didn't make it because he's a little bit of a chicken. And he and I do therapy work. So we visit the Martinez Veterans Center. We visit Kaiser. So those dogs, even though that they didn't get to that service dog, they make big impacts on people. Two other things I'm bring up real quick that we work with is colleges. There are college students in several colleges. I don't know, maybe we're up to about 10, where they have puppy raising programs for us. And they do a great job raising puppies for us. And I'm praying that we get Cal on that list. I have a puppy raiser now. I'm hoping because their dogs are great. They back each other up. It works great. The other thing we work with prisons. We're up to about 17 or 18 prison programs. Even Katie Couric did a little thing about us and the prison program. We've been working with prisons for a long time. Their dogs actually are a little more successful if you look at the percent of a graduation. Now, all the prison programs, the ones around, I was in San Quentin yesterday at a graduation for the puppies that were raised there. It was really awesome. And it changes the lives of the people as much as it helps us change someone's life in the future. The recidivism rate, that I can't say that word, for anybody that's been in our programs is really low. So they don't go back. So if they do get out, we actually have a prisoner from a California healthcare facility that works at Canine Companions now that he's done his time, and they're super grateful. They cannot be offenders of children or pets. They would never qualify. But everybody else, based on their good, they have to be really outstanding in their time there to be able to qualify. And it works really great. Again, their rate of graduation is good because if you think about it, they spend all day teaching the dog. They know their commands and they come in and out. So the person on the outside has them for a month. They go in for 3, out for a month. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Dawn.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Dawn Abrahamson, and I have Ménière syndrome, if some of you know what Ménière's is. So I am totally deaf in my left ear, and I have significant hearing loss, profound, in my right ear. I started losing my hearing every sit. All right. I started losing my hearing at 18 years of age in my left ear. And with Ménière's, my ear doctors have told me it's usually unilateral. I have it in both ears. So I have it in my right ear as well. Along with the hearing loss comes significant dizzy spells, which I have. The theory with that is once the hearing loss has done its damage, the dizzy spells subside. So I do get vertigo. I have chosen not to have a cochlear implant. My doctor has talked to me about it in my left ear, and I am not going to move forward with it. I function quite well, and I still am working. I work for the city of Vallejo, and I function very well facing people, relying on lip reading, And even in council meetings, when I sit up at the dais, we have a T-coil under where I sit. So my hearing aid Bluetooth's right there. As long as I don't leave my seat area, sometimes I scoot back because I don't want to hear what they're saying. But I've functioned that way since I was 18 years of age. As you can imagine, with hearing loss, it's very lonely. It's a very silent feeling when you're in a group of people and I go out to dinner. Like last night, I was playing Trivial Pursuit Country Club with friends. Thank goodness they had the questions on the screen so I could read it, but they're laughing and telling jokes. And I would look at my husband and say, what are they saying? What are they saying? And he's used to that. So sometimes I start laughing just because I don't want to feel like she's not laughing. What's going on with her? So I'm sure some of you can understand how that feels. I would say so I've had Every for 9 years. She is 11 years of age. And she's in great shape because Canine Companions, when you recertify, has very strict standards. She will be retiring sometime this year. She will be at home. She will be my husband's dog. She already is. And then I am on the list to get a successor hearing dog. And I hope to be able to go up to campus like Pam talked about in August for a successor dog. So about 11 years ago, I had a couple of people that were influential in my life. Someone that I worked with profession, and one of our puppy raisers, her husband was my running coach. And he said, you qualify for a hearing dog. And I was like, yeah, I know. And my friend Wendy said the same thing because she was involved with Canine Companions. I went through the application process, which is really a 4-step process. And that takes about 1 year. So as you go through the application phase, one phase is basically your ear doctor will fill out a medical form documenting for Canine Companions your hearing loss. They want to know a lot about your hearing loss, the significance of the loss. Then you have to fill out what I call is like a diary. What do you do Sunday through Saturday? Your lifestyle like? Are you active? Do you work? How many people are in your home? How many pets do you have? What is your personality like? I'm very stubborn. This girl, I think, has got me beat. She's super stubborn. So they want to know all that. The reason they're asking you for that is because the professional trainer matches you with the dog. I didn't get to pick her. They match you with the dog, and I don't know how they do it, but they're pretty accurate when they match you with the dog. I got the call probably after a year saying, you've made it through all application process. Now you're on a waiting list. I was on the waiting list for 2 years. So from start to finish, when they called me to come up to Santa Rosa for team and training, it was 3 years. So Pam talked about the waiting period. When I got the call, as you can imagine, I was elated, but I was very nervous. So I went up to Santa Rosa. I think they only have 3 hearing dog campuses, if I'm not mistaken. They have 3? Yeah. Santa Rosa, Florida, and there's maybe 1 or 2 more. I'm not sure where they are. So I drove up to Santa Rosa, and you live in the dorms for 2 weeks. You're there for 2 weeks. They have a full kitchen that you share. You have your own room. It's equipped with a TV with closed caption. They have things for hearing impaired, an alarm. The lights will flash. So the rooms are set up not only for hearing impaired people, but for people that are in a wheelchair that have other needs. So you live up there for 2 weeks. You go to class like you're back in school, Monday through Friday from about 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So there is Ken Reed was the hearing dog instructor in Santa Rosa, and he just retired. So when I go up, I will have a new instructor, but the instructor, You have lectures. They will talk to you. You'll learn about the behavior of dog. You'll learn about what the tail means, if the tail's wagging, if the tail's up, if the tail's flat down. You learn a lot about the dog and their behaviors and their body language. And then the first 2 days, they have you practice with a group of dogs they've selected. Now, you don't know which one is your dog, but the trainer knows pretty much who they're going to match you with. And you're pre-matched the second day. So on the second day, on a Tuesday, they brought all the dogs out, and there were 7 people in my class, and they had 8 dogs. They brought the dogs out one at a time, and they pre-matched you with your dog. It's very emotional, and I get emotional talking about it. It's very emotional because the bond I have with her is very different than a pet. I rely on her to be my ears pretty much 24/7. And so I was matched with this beautiful girl by the name of Every, with an E. And I had my eye on her, but I never worked with her. And I was so happy that I was matched with her. Then you do practical exercises with the dog along with the lectures. They'll have you work with the dog in terms of sit, stay, basic commands. Then you start working with the dog on sounds. They timer your cell phone when it rings. They have a room that's geared like an apartment that you go in, and an instructor will go out and they'll ring the doorbell. The dog is supposed to alert you. The way Harry, and I'll try and show it, see if she'll cooperate with me today. The way they alert you is they nudge you. Every alert. Come on. Alert. What? This way? Yeah, good girl. She's supposed to nudge me. That is what she's supposed to do when she hears something. She nudges you on your leg. And then she's supposed to take you when you say what? She's supposed to take you to where that cell phone is. Now, this girl is getting old, so she's getting a little stubborn. I'll try one more sound in a minute because she really likes sirens, especially fire engines. So there's certain sounds that they work with you on. For me, cell phone is a big one. Doorbell, if somebody rings or knocks on the door. Sirens when you're driving, believe it or not. Sirens, they alert you up here. And she's really good with sirens. Garbage disposal. So in the morning, I don't have the hearing aid in and I can't hear. I'll go down and run the garbage disposal. And I'm very famous for walking away, and it's still going. I've taught her that command, so she knows that. Let me see what else. The microwave, when it goes off and it makes a ringing sound. The key with hearing dogs, it's a sound that you want that just doesn't go on and on. For example, if you're drying your hair and you leave the blow dryer on, or if you're, because I guess you could train a dog that way, but every time they hear the blow dryer, even if you're just drying your hair, they're going to come and alert you. So usually it needs to be a sound that starts by ringing, and then you physically have to stop it. It's not an ongoing sound. Those are some of the common sounds that she alerts me to. I travel quite a bit for work. She travels beautifully on an airplane. So you get a hearing dog, you have full legal access rights for a service dog. They can go on an airplane with you. They cannot charge you. She just lays down at my feet. And she's just a sweet angel. In fact, all the flight attendants and the pilots smile when they see me come on the plane with her because they're amazed at how well behaved she is. She goes to work with me. I mentioned I work for the city of Vallejo. I'm a city clerk, so she's in my office all day. And then when I go to the council meetings, I sit up at the dais. I have a bed under the dais. She lays down and she doesn't move. She's really good. And she pretty much goes everywhere that I tend to go. I go to this grocery store with her. I go to the gym. She goes with me. The older she gets, the least resistant. Sometimes she's a little more stubborn and wants to stay on the couch. So these are some of the things that Every does for me. Do you want me to try and get her to alert me to a siren? Do you want to see that? Okay, let me see if I can do it.
while she's doing that, I just wanted to also talk about one other thing that is something that these dogs do. They help you be more social. So I've heard this from many people that get the dogs, right? And I'll tell you, there's another hearing graduate that told me a story, something I didn't know because I'm not in the situation, is that she has hearing problems and she stopped taking Bart because she was not comfortable in a crowd because the hearing disability is invisible. So unlike somebody that may be a wheelchair user, people obviously say, can I help you, or get out of the way, or if you can't hear and people are saying, could you move, and they're behind you, nothing. This changed her life because in addition to helping her with the sounds, it helped her be not as fearful in situations like that because people would see the dog, the vest that says service dog. Oh, she doesn't work for free. They don't work for free. Bonita's like, what about me? All right. I don't know if we're going to take any questions. That's up to you. We're happy to. I did leave a few service dog brochures up here, and everybody, please feel free to take a bookmark. And I don't know, do you want to ask if there's any questions or? Okay. Any questions?
How much exercise do they need as far as pooping and
Okay, I can start. Did you hear her? No. Okay. She asked about how much exercise they need. With you, it's crazy. She's a runner, hiker, or whatever. So she needed a dog to do that with her. But we are strict, by the way, about their weight. We do recertify the people with the dogs and make sure you're using them correctly because there's a lot of work and a lot of heart that a lot of people put into those dogs. And we want to make sure they are doing what we intended. And so we do make sure you can tell both the dogs look in trim, good shape, right? And so they do need exercise. So how much do they need a day? If you could, somebody could walk them a mile plus a day, that's at least probably what they need. Or if you have play date opportunities, they are dogs. We don't want you to take them to dog parks. But we have play dates at my friend's house. So if you have dogs that are friends, they like to play. And some of them like to fetch. So if you could just throw a ball, they'll run and get it 700 times. So those are the ways that we exercise them, but we've taught them to be calm in the house. When we're raising the puppies, they're in the kennel 3 hours a day. We're supposed to do that because if you're working and you're just working, they have to just sit there. So they also know that they have downtimes. Yes?
Wait a minute. So remember, everybody has to speak through a microphone.
Why don't you take them to dog parks? What's the reason for that?
Okay, good question. Why don't we take them to dog parks? Because sometimes there could be dogs at the dog park that may be a little too aggressive. And they're like precious cargo, right? The value of a service dog, it is about $50,000 to $60,000. They come to you free, but we did a lot of work and that costs something. And we just want to make sure we keep them safe and don't. So that's really the reason.
Okay, are there any more questions?
There's a hand over here.
Okay, the microphone's coming. Hang on 1 second. Jim's bringing it to you. There you go.
Thank you. I heard an instance, it's not a question, it's more like a comment, but a couple had a hearing dog, and one of the things it was trained to do was to alert them when the baby cried. Okay. So this one day they decided to go to a restaurant. They took the dog with them, but they left the baby home with a babysitter. Okay. The people in the next booth had a baby and it cried, and the dog alerted, so they had to explain to the people why. So I thought that was
It's hysterical. That's a good one. Thanks for sharing that story. I might use that one. I could use that one in my next presentation. I do reuse.
So she's trained for certain sounds. She started alerting me when I was singing Christmas carols in the car to Christmas songs. I don't know why she picked that up. And I told the hearing dog that must be my awful voice, but she does alert me to music. She does. And I can't explain it.
So we have a question in Zoom. Carol Agate, can you ask your question?
I had a service dog. She weighed about 12 pounds. And I never could understand why Canine Companions uses a large dog, because large dog is needed for a lot of disabilities, but certainly not for hearing loss. And I'd travel and she could sit on my lap, and it's just so much more convenient to have a small dog. So I wonder why you don't have small dogs for people with hearing loss.
Okay. I can answer that. Certainly, I'm not sure what organization you got the dog from. Can you tell me that?
Oh, I had a private trainer.
Okay. Like I said earlier, we selected these kinds of dogs because of their temperament, for one. And they had corgis to begin with, by the way. And so I can't tell you exactly why they decided not to do a smaller dog, but certainly I know that there are other organizations or that you can self-train service dogs. Do you all know that service dogs, there's no registration for a service dog? There is none. So there's registrations for our service dogs through us, and we put them through the good citizen test, but someone can self-train a service dog. So if someone wants a different dog, I'm sure there's other places out there, but that is what we've decided to do. And they are gentle. Dawn said, I mean, they can wrap up in a little circle under a table and on an airplane. Yeah.
Are you good, Carol?
I'm
Are
afraid
you
that was
good?
pretty fast for me to catch
Oh.
it all. I'll
Sorry.
read the captions when I get a chance to see if I can catch it all. But
Is a 3-year wait time to get a
Thank you. So we're going to take a question in the room now, please.
is a 3-year wait time to get a service dog all service dogs or just the hearing dogs?
That's a good question. And remember, the wait time and everything I'm talking about is through Canine Companions. There are other organizations. Most organizations' wait times, if they are not privately trained, are on the longer side. I'm sorry, the question was again, I talked myself out of that.
Is a 3-year wait time?
Oh, for hearing dogs only. The hearing dog is a little longer. And I again think in my mind that it is because they are telling you what to do. So it does take a little longer for them in the professional training part. They're usually in professional training longer than a dog that maybe is helping a child with autism, because the number of things they need to do is a little less, and it's not maybe as hard for them. So it is a little longer.
Thank you.
Are most of the dogs female or male? And the second question is, when you go into a store like Safeway, do you tell people don't touch the dog?
So they are both male and female. That is, there's no big statistic between the two as far as who graduates more. They could be either. And do you have don't touch on yours?
So I have a hard time. I have patches on her vest that say do not pet, working dog, service dog. It says hearing dog. And the rule is you're supposed to ask if you want to pet or say hello to a working dog. You're not supposed to approach them. You ask the owner. I have a hard time, and I don't mean any disrespect to the men in the room, but the hardest people I have with just approaching and petting her are men. Women and children are pretty good. And I will stop anywhere, anytime for a young child that wants to say hi. But I actually have had someone come up to her and give her food. And I got very upset with that. I said, look, she's a working dog. Please do not give her food. So yes, they're not supposed to, but I don't think people really read the vest or they don't know the proper protocol.
And I do a lot of presentations to schools and to other things that are more for educating them on disability etiquette and things like that. I think they're getting better at it because now when I ask the question, most of the kids say I have to ask first. So I think over time, there's just more education out there, but it is a thing. And I'm going to go back to the play date thing for 1 second. Why the dog park question? Because I thought of something else. We haven't talked about it, but there are certainly dogs that are not really service dogs because you can buy a vest that says service dog. It's a hot topic for me, for us, and because the vest isn't required by law. There's no law that says you have to have a vest on a service dog. Nope. And the vest is more for education and branding. We're proud of our Canine Companion dogs. And we're proud to say they're our dogs. They're very good. Like we said, we keep testing them. But there are some people that will put a vest on a dog that is not really qualified. And then we've had dogs that have had a vest on that said they're a service dog and clearly they weren't. And they have attacked our dog, literally, in a restaurant. She knows who I'm talking about. The dog was tied to a table and attacked the dog, brought the table down. And this dog was super special her name is Wallace. She has degenerative disorder. She is a wheelchair user. She's also deaf. And she also can hardly speak. It's a form of progressive dystonia. And she taught the dog 65 sign languages. And that dog had to retire after being a service dog for 2 years because Mork was scared then. That's why it drives me crazy. And I'm sure you all know, but because I'm here, the American Disabilities Act is what covers the service dog federally, right? And there's 2 questions anybody can ask her If she's with Every, if she goes into a restaurant, anywhere she goes, right? They can ask you, is that your service dog? You of course say yes. And then they ask you what tasks that dog does. Okay. So if they said to me, they comfort me, you know, what tasks does the dog do? Comfort, great dog. I'm sure it's a great dog. Emotional support, maybe. Doesn't have access.
I had two questions, and one was you answered partially about being attacked by another dog. I know they're non-responsive, but I was going to ask how you handle a responsive dog that comes up or is not in control by a child or something like that and comes to you. I've never seen that occur, but I wondered about it. The other was about if they don't make it all the way through the training, and you said they can become they are certified therapy dogs. How does the person that gets them qualify for that? Is there a waiting list as long for that also?
Okay. So the first question about if we have a dog that's aggressive that comes up to our dog, we leave. That's pretty much what we do. We may get mad, but you got to get the dog out of harm's way. That's the first thing you've got to try to do. You don't care about anybody's feelings at that point. You just need to get your dog out of there. I was on a hike with her mother, who's not a service dog, but she's a great dog, and she was a breeder, and a little dog grabbed onto her neck just last week, and she will not fight back. They do not fight back. So she got the dog off, and I did check her, but so we do the best we can. The first thing we do is to do anything we can to get them out of harm's way. And then as far as the therapy dogs, what happens is if I'm a puppy raiser and I raised a puppy, which I did, and my dog doesn't make it, I get first dibs if I want it. I can take the dog back and maybe be a therapy dog, and I'll talk about how that works in 1 second. If not, because some puppy raisers raise like 50 dogs, I swear to God, they're crazy. Those dogs then are eligible to be therapy dogs. There's on canine.org, there's an application for therapy dogs. And so that you would be waiting for one of those dogs to come up. And then you would commit to Canine Companions that you are going to do therapy work and get them certified with their program. So we still have our branding on it. And then it's not nearly the same as hard as a service dog. So you would go through the good citizen test, and you yourself have to take a test online because they want to make sure rules and things like that. And what would you do if you're in the situation and someone's feeding your dog? You're at the hospital, someone's feeding your dog. What would you do? You would say, stop, please stop feeding my dog. So that you get that test, and then you have a handler test to make sure the dog walks nicely with you, and that when they go into the locations that they're approved for, because that's how therapy dog works, right? I had to go through the Veterans Association to be able to bring them to the veterans, and they had to sign a form to say they wanted therapy dogs there. And that ensures that the dog is insured for liability while we're there. Not that our dogs ever do anything. You might trip over one. I don't know. But did that answer your question? Doesn't take too long.
Waiting for that too.
That one is a sort of, we do. And if there were too many on that waiting list, like they thought it would be like more than a year or so, they would shut it down for a while because it's unpredictable, right? That one's unpredictable. How do you know which dogs are going to get released? You hope none. We're always trying to get more. I don't know if anybody has Netflix here, but if you do, In the Mind of a Dog is a great it's a great little show, whatever it is called. and it is done with Duke University. Canine Companions has done studies with Duke University and had dogs there. It's very interesting. There's also a book about it. I think it's called Puppy Kindergarten. It's really good. We're always trying to figure out how can we get more dogs to graduate, right? And how can we do that or know sooner that they're not going to? Because I'm telling you, some puppy raisers turn in the dog and I'm going, holy crap, that dog's never going to graduate. And they do. And sometimes I think they are and they don't. They were scared. If they're scared, they don't graduate. So, yeah.
Alan has a question here.
Yeah, we have a question from Paula Sutton on Zoom. Besides alerting a deaf, hard of hearing person of sound, what else is a hearing dog trained to do? That is sit, lay down, come pick up, fetch, etc. Some deaf, hard of hearing people are mobility challenged too. So can they be pre-trained or trained to do other tasks, such as turn on the lights and etc.?
Okay, so this is Dawn, and I have my hearing service dog. So besides the sound she's trained to alert me to, she knows the basic commands. So she knows sit, stay, heel, down, hurry is the command to go to the bathroom. They go to the bathroom on command. You tell them hurry, they go to the bathroom. Car, to get in the car, I open the back door and I just point and I say car, and she hops in the back seat. So she knows the basic commands. She probably was taught as a puppy some of the other commands, but hearing dogs don't need those commands. For example, lap is one for people that are in a wheelchair, where the dog will come up to their lap or visit. She doesn't really know those commands. She knows back, so she can scoop back, but she knows the basic commands. The other commands, I don't really need her to work with me on. I hope that answers the question.
And I think I also heard part of the question was if somebody also has physical disabilities as well as hearing loss or deaf. I told you about the young lady that was deaf, uses a wheelchair. That's a special dog, right? That dog took longer. Not all the dogs would be able to do all that. That is a very special dog. But we do provide for multiple disabilities, just it could be longer. Hopefully that answered the question.
Since it takes such a long time to get a hearing dog, is there any age limit on the person that's applying for one?
It's a really good question. And as far as I know, the answer is no. Can I tell you if you were 99? Probably. But I know people that are in their late 70s or 80 that are getting a hearing dog. I know that. And so I haven't heard of one. Can I say there might not be at some point? I don't know.
Thank you.
Jim, there's a question, two questions on the other side of the room.
Is she okay? Let me know if she bugs you. I'll pull her away or call her. Bubba.
What determines the qualifications for breeding dog?
Holy cow, that's certainly one I can't answer. So we've tried to get that answer so many times. There is some parts I can answer. One is they have to be perfect health. So you could get a service dog that maybe has an allergy. And they will tell you they have an allergy. Are you okay medicating for that allergy? They would not make that the breeder. So all of the genes would have to be really like perfect, and the health part that need to be well behaved. And because they've been doing this for so long and they keep all this information, they have the success rates of puppies in a line. So for example, this litter that Bonita was part of, which was my breeder Eclipse's last litter. She had 8 puppies. Out of that litter of 8, they picked 3 breeders, 2 girls and a boy. And it was like, that's a lot. That's a lot for them. The reason was, one, in addition to everything I just said, the dad, Oswald, was prolific and he had a really good record of service dogs success out of his line. So thus she wanted that to continue because he's done. He's retired now.
This is another comment that for education, I heard one time where a lady was with her child and there was somebody with a service dog and the mother went to try to touch it. And the child said, "No, mom, it's a working dog. You don't pet it." I thought that was wonderful.
You just have a bunch. You want to come with me on the road?
Are there any other questions in the room? Are there any other questions on Zoom? We'd like to thank you very much for coming
Oh,
today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting us.
And we'd like to make sure that on the 30th of May, we're having the walk for hearing. I think it would be really wonderful if you had a table or became a sponsor. I'll send you more information about
Send
that.
me more information.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, so the graduations, if you go on canine.org and on the bottom of the website, there are regions because that's how they're set up. Northwest region is us, is Santa Rosa. You click on that and you click on graduation and it'll show you all the dates of the upcoming graduations. Now, there's 4 graduations during the year that are for, well, first there's 4 for mobility and facility and children. There's 4 for that because that's usually more people. And then there are 4 that are on campus that are for hearing dogs and veterans with PTSD. They go together for their team trainings. Different dogs, but together. They are all open to public. And the ones that are for mobility and all that are also where we have the dogs matriculate. For example, in the East Bay, I have 8 puppies that puppy raisers have raised here that will be turning in, matriculating in May. And you go across the stage and you get a little tassel for being a puppy raiser for us. And so that's heartwarming, but you're welcome. Yes, you're welcome to come. They are open and also they're online. Now, depending on if you want the experience of seeing the site and all of that, and you can always set up a tour as well, and could set up a tour. And you can do that too, but they're also online if you wanted to view them online, either at the time of the event or they're on the website for you to watch afterwards. And it's pretty good because there's always a speaker too from the class that talks about the experience. And if you don't cry, I can't tell you. I don't know what's wrong with you. So I cry 11 years later, I'm still crying. Yeah.
So I'd like everybody to know that Canine Companions is also hosting online. It's called Puppy Cams. And it is so much fun and the dogs are so cute. So if you want to register, I think you just go to Canine Companions. I got alerted that their puppy cams were happening. And so there are all these images of dogs and they have an opportunity that you can donate money for a specific dog for Canine Companions to help
Sponsor a dog.
Yeah.
And it's
there you
not
go.
that much money. And then you get updates on the dog. Yeah. Yeah. And then I don't know, you could arrange a visit of my puppies when Bonita has puppies at my house.
Thanks. So this was really heartwarming, huh? Thank you very much. In continuation of the whole process of hearing loss 101. We've been asking questions between sessions about what happened to you, what did you learn in the last session, and were you able to apply it to your life? Does anybody have any comments about that? Is there anything anybody want to share about something that happened to them since the last time we were together? Okay. And this is the same thing. Was there an area that you had a problem at since our last meeting that maybe you would like to bring up for some assistance? Oh, we're doing really good. Oh, Alan has one in Zoom, I think.
Okay, Paula also had another question. So what happens to a dog recipient is unable to continue caring for their dog or they pass away?
So Canine Companions continues ownership of the service dog. Okay, so Every is owned by Canine Companions. And you want that for the liability insurance, for one thing. Now, for all practical purposes, they're your dog, you're feeding them, you're paying for the food, you're paying for the vet, you're doing all those things. But we maintain ownership to ensure, again, that's all happening. So you are meeting with somebody, there's a hotline you call about your dog that is not, hotline's probably a wrong word. There is a phone number for support for you if your dog's not doing something you thought they should do, or you need them for anything. So you could contact that person and say, this is my living situation now. And so things have changed. Canine Companions will find a home for the dog. So they will rehome it, retire it probably, unless it's only 6 months in, they may rehome it to somebody that they can still help. But they will find a home. And certainly, I know that Dawn, of course, is getting a successor dog, and she will keep. Every will be retired then. She'll sign a contract owning the dog then, and Every will be hanging out at home. But if your situation is that you can't, and believe me, especially with some people with mobility issues, that is the situation. So they can't keep 2 dogs. And so someone in their family could adopt the dog as the retired dog, or we will find a home.
Thanks. So we'd like to make sure everybody knows about these resources that are on the screen here. Hearing Tracker is a third-party reviewer, very highly respected, and they review all hearing instruments and new technologies, and I highly recommend them. Dr. Cliff is a private audiologist in Phoenix, and he's very popular with many people. So you have 2 resources there. And Tina Childress, who's currently working for EnoCaption, who we had at our last meeting, she has held many positions in the hearing loss community. She is an audiologist, and she has a wonderful resource called See Hear Communication Matters with tons of information. She recently did a new video YouTube for EnoCaption, and her nickname is Techie Tina. And she talks about how much she happens to like creating tables. And so all of the resources are on tables. I think that you'll really like it.
And
Oh, yeah.
And I have a experience from this last month that I'd like to share with everyone.
Please.
This last month, I had a birthday party, and I invited my daughter. Graciously offered to host a party at her house, and so I had a number of people. There was maybe 24 or more people there, and a lot of my friends have hearing loss. Go figure.
Age.
Anyway, so what I did is I went to California Connect and got Hamilton Relay to log into. I figured during the cake cutting, every birthday party has cake cutting, and then people, anyway, I thought maybe other people would want to talk, but I was the only one that talked. But what I did was I got Hamilton Relay to log in, set up a Zoom meeting with my phone. And I created a QR code and gave everybody the QR code so they could log in onto the Zoom meeting with their phone. And I got Hamilton Relay to log in and caption what was being said. So people could stand there with their phone and have a live captioner listen to what I was saying. There was no PA system. It was just our phones. And this is an idea. I had this idea earlier last summer because we celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary, and we had a party in the park, and it would have been actually a lot more effective there because people did get up and talk. There was like a half dozen people that came in and said nice things about us. I don't know why. But anyway, so that was where I got the idea. And so I wanted to try it out. And I'm not sure how well it worked, but I just wanted to share that with you as an idea. So you might consider doing something like that. And just so you know, Hamilton Relay is a service that's available to all Californians. The requirements are that there has to be you have a meeting. It has to be at least 3 attendees to this meeting. And at least one of them has to have hearing loss. That's it. And you have to be a resident of California. So those are the 3 requirements. And they're very responsive. It's a very good program. I want to encourage people to think about how you might use that in your life.
So I happen to have been a guest at Jim's party, his 75th birthday party, and this worked really well. It was really ingenious. Now, a piece that was a little difficult for attendees was most of the people who were there weren't HLAA people, so they're not accustomed to seeing captions. So they didn't quite realize that, oh, when the person's talking, you needed to look at your phone. They still wanted to look at the person who was talking. But obviously, everybody who's in this room is so knowledgeable, right? That wouldn't be an issue for you. And while Jim was setting that up, I was helping some people, and then I was watching them and I was saying, oh, they're not looking at their phone. They didn't make that intellectual connection. So that would be the only thing that I thought that was any kind of a glitch, and then it worked great. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, it was a great day. So I'd like to point out to everybody, it's a reminder, every single meeting we're going to have, we're all remiss in taking care of our own safety when it comes to fire and smoke and carbon monoxide. So you need to get a hub free from the state, from California Connect, and then purchase the accessory item because the state only provides you for auditory telecommunications, the auxiliary accessory that goes with the hubs that alerts you to fire and carbon monoxide, smoke and carbon monoxide. So some announcements. First of all, I keep forgetting, and then we're at the end to thank our captioner. So this time I decided to make a slide to remind me to do that. And in the room, I want to thank you, Sammy. You make our life so much better. We have some upcoming events. May 2nd, we're having a presentation about something that I don't remember the last time we had this topic. It might be 2012 or 11 or something, and it's on oral rehabilitation. So it's the gold standard. Everybody knows if you practice oral rehabilitation, your ability to understand speech is improved. But most of us don't do it. Most of us don't have the resources to do it. And so our presentation is going to be on that. May 30th is our annual Bay Area Walk for Hearing. June 6th, I'll be giving our presentation called Traveling with Hearing Loss. And that reminds me, I've been looking for my device that you can use on the airplane, and I can't find it anywhere. And I thought, oh, did I lose that? And then it dawned on me, did I by any chance loan it to anybody at the chapter meeting? So if by some chance you have it, and I think that I'd love to have it back. If not, I guess I lost it. It has a little case. I don't know where I put the other case that looks like this. And you plug it into the audio system on an airplane. Or something that I've been experimenting with is if you didn't have a telecoil in your hearing instrument, but you had Bluetooth, it's a Bluetooth streamer that you could connect that to a receiver for FM, infrared, or maybe in the future, Auracast, to see if that would stream the sound. So if anybody happens to remember that I loaned it to them, please just let me know. If not, I'm a doots. Okay, so then in June, we also have the HLAA convention, but I have another slide for that. And we're going to have our brown bag picnic on July 25th in Rossmore, and you'll receive more information. Here's the slide for the Walk for Hearing. We'd obviously like everybody to join our team. I'll be sending out a email blast about that shortly. And the convention is June 10th through the 12th. And I'm really touched to get an award this year. I found out that some of our board members and chapter members nominated me for an Excellence in Service Award, and I'm going to receive it. And I was really touched by that. Here's the information about the Walk for Hearing. The location is absolutely over the chart fabulous. It's on the water in Alameda, facing San Francisco. I think other than Treasure Island, it may be the most fabulous view of San Francisco from anywhere in the Bay Area. So if you haven't been, please come join us. There'll be tons of kids. There's food. There are face painters. There are ice cone people. And then there's, of course, the walk. So you get to rub elbows with your community, and you don't have to apologize for anybody because you said, could you say that again for me? We are a member organization. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind everybody to either join us or renew your membership, and you can do that either online or via mail. I want everybody to know that the provider, our credit card provider, is called Zephy, and they provide this service to nonprofits for free. So if you use your credit card, there are no service fees that are incurred for you to do that. It's a wonderful thing. I want to remind everybody that hearing loss is a disability, and it's covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Many people with hearing loss don't know that. So since they don't know that, they don't think to ask for the assistance that they need in public places. In our meetings, I've had some people talk about the Lesher Center. So the Lesher Center has communication access. They have an FM system. The Parks and Recs classes in Walnut Creek, all of the Parks and Recs classes all have communication access. You just need to ask for it. We have our monthly meetings the first Saturday of the month, 10 o'clock in this room. We're really happy that all of you decided to give up your Saturday morning to come learn a little bit more about something that may make your life better.